In 1985, Back to the Future changed cinema forever. With its unforgettable story, time travel adventure, and legendary characters, the film became one of the most beloved classics of the 1980s. But nearly 40 years later, where are the stars now? How have they changed? And what happened after the DeLorean disappeared from the screen? Let's find out. When Back to the Future premiered in 1985, Michael J. Fox was in his mid-20s. He was already known from Family Ties, but Marty McFly made him a global icon. His energy and charisma helped turn the film into one of the biggest hits of the decade. In the years that followed, Fox became one of the most popular young actors in Hollywood. However, at a very young age, he was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease, something he later revealed publicly. Instead of stepping away quietly, he became one of the strongest advocates for medical research and awareness. In 2026, Michael J. Fox is now in his mid-60s. Today, he is remembered not only as Marty McFly, but as a symbol of resilience and strength. When the film was released, Christopher Lloyd was already in his 40s. Though he had worked in television and film before, Doc Brown changed everything. His unforgettable performance became one of the most iconic characters in cinema history. After the trilogy, Lloyd continued acting for decades, appearing in films, series, and voice roles. Now in his late 80s, he still makes occasional public appearances and remains deeply loved by fans. Lea Thompson was in her early 20s when she starred in the film. Her performance required her to play Lorraine as both a teenager and a mother, a challenging dual role. After the trilogy, she built a steady career in film and television, later moving into directing. Today, in her mid-60s, she remains active in the industry and continues to be closely associated with this timeless classic. Thomas F. Wilson was in his mid-20s when he played Biff Tannen. His performance made Biff one of the most memorable movie villains of the 1980s. Loud, arrogant, and unforgettable. So convincing, in fact, that many fans had trouble separating the actor from the character. After the trilogy, Wilson continued acting in television and film, but he also built a career in stand-up comedy and voice acting. In real life, he is known to be warm, intelligent, and humorous, very different from the bully he portrayed. Today, in his late 60s, Thomas F. Wilson remains active in entertainment and often shares stories from the Back to the Future era with fans. Crispin Glover was only in his early 20s when he played George McFly. His awkward body language and unique delivery gave the character a distinct personality that audiences still remember. However, he did not return for the sequels due to contract disagreements, a situation that later became widely discussed in Hollywood. Instead of following a traditional mainstream path, Glover chose independent cinema. Over the years, he built a reputation for taking unusual and artistic roles. Now in his early 60s, Crispin Glover continues to work in film, maintaining a career that reflects his individuality. Claudia Wells was still a teenager when she appeared as Jennifer Parker in the original film. Her role as Marty's girlfriend gave the story emotional grounding. However, due to family circumstances, she did not return for the sequels. Rather than pursuing long-term Hollywood fame, Wells stepped away from acting for a period of time. Years later, she reconnected with fans through conventions and interviews. Now in her early 60s, she is still warmly remembered for her role in the first film. Elisabeth Shue joined the franchise in the sequels. At the time, she was in her early 20s and already building momentum in Hollywood. Her career quickly expanded with major film roles, earning critical recognition and award nominations. Unlike many actors from the era, Shue maintained steady visibility throughout the decades. Today, in her early 60s, she remains active in film and television, and continues to take on meaningful roles. James Tolkan brought authority and intensity to the role of Principal Strickland. Already an experienced actor when the film premiered, he gave the character a strict and unforgettable presence. Though not a central character, Strickland became one of the most quoted figures in the trilogy. After Back to the Future, Tolkan continued appearing in films and television before eventually stepping away from the spotlight. Now, in his mid-90s, he lives a quiet life away from the industry. Billy Zane had only a small role in the first film, but it was one of his early appearances on screen. At the time, he was still a teenager. His career would later expand significantly, including major roles in blockbuster films. Though his time in Back to the Future was brief, fans often enjoy spotting him in the background of the original movie. Today, Zane continues acting and remains part of Hollywood projects decades later. Marc McClure played Marty's older brother. Though his screen time was limited, his role helped show the contrast between the before and after timelines. McClure had already appeared in other major franchises before Back to the Future. Over the years, he continued working in film and television, though mostly in supporting roles. Now in his late 60s, he occasionally appears at fan events celebrating classic films. Wendie Jo Sperbe portrayed Marty's sister Linda. She brought a light comedic touch to the McFly family scenes. After the film, she continued acting in television for many years. Sadly, she passed away in the mid-2000s. Her contribution to the film remains part of the trilogy's emotional core. Frances Lee McCain played Lorraine's mother. Though her role was brief, she helped build the authenticity of the 1950s storyline. She had already established herself in film and television long before the movie. In later years, she stepped away from regular acting work. Today, she is remembered as part of the extended world that made Back to the Future feel real and layered. Back to the Future was more than just a movie. It was a defining moment for an entire generation. Some of its stars became global icons, others chose quieter paths. But together, they created a story that continues to inspire audiences decades later. Which cast member was your favorite? Let us know in the comments. And subscribe for more classic movie cast updates.